bluntly asked the governor, we don't expect dollars to necessarily come out of there, but sort of get out of our way from the OEC, the Office of Early Childhood perspective, so that you stop costing us dollars. This is a breakdown of the organization. So we're now, we're about a $15 million organization. The number that I actually care about, which isn't really reflected there, is that we ran about a $200,000 cash flow negative this past year. We're going to run about a $500,000 cash flow negative this coming year, and which is why we're raising $2 million. We need to be at 2.5. Ultimately, we're going to need to be at 3. But 87% of our dollars do go into programming, the organization is really run very leanly. In terms of some of the needs, and so number one, operating support. I'll hold that to the end, because for certain funders, that's sort of an elephant in a room. But actually, I want to talk about that. But some of the other issues that we're facing is we're facing a cut in funding from the Care for Kids program. That's going to be north of $115,000 a year for us. What's particularly demoralizing about that is we actually at one point in time saw that as a $1.3 million a year revenue stream, and it has deteriorated over the course of 5 years. And last year, using a little bit of private sector incentives, we turned that around and we actually grew that revenue stream. And now the requirements have been changed, and a whole lot of families have been cut out of it. So that's a $115,000 minimum whack to us. The second is the fact that we get about $8,900 a year per child in one of our programs, $8,600 in the other. Now the programs were supposed to be merged, so the state said we'll pay you $8,600, $8,900 across the board. They've just clawed back that other $300, so that's $80,000. Now, there are inequities in state funding of programs. So charter schools, for instance, of which some of you may be supporters. I'm actually a supporter. I started one in East Harlem. Charter schools get paid $11,000 per student for school day, school year, which converts for us into about $21,000 a year if you were running 51 weeks a year, 10 hours a day. I will tell you, you pay me $11,000 a year per child to get the 21, pay me 11 and I'm feeding my endowment. The next item, so publishing products. So my professional claim to fame is I publish the South Beach Diet. So I think there's actually, we have multiple revenue streams that we currently call on, but I think that there is a sustainable product line around the parent-child connection that we can actually build, that we can sell, that we can get sponsored, and that actually can become quite significant. So we will look to fund that in short order. We have a Healthy Body series. You know, a significant number of our 3-year-olds come to us overweight or obese. And we've had a wonderful program. It's been funded by United Way. Unfortunately, it's going away. And so if we'd like to maintain that program, it's up there. Again, just sort of putting things in perspective, I recently negotiated a settlement with an employee who left us and was threatening to sue. And what I do often is I convert dollars into meals. So it costs us $5 a day to feed a child 2 meals and a snack. And so if someone's going to cost me $25,000 a year, I convert that for them. So let them know that if I pay them this $25,000, I could have fed a class, or they could have fed a class of 20 for 1 year. And lastly, I guess, a data analyst. We do not have a full-time data analyst, and increasingly with the demands of data, we can use one. So, thank you. We're done.
So we have have barraged you with data tonight. It was our intent, sorry, it's such a heavy night, but this is the kind of information that touches everybody on a different level. Something had to have piqued your interest tonight. What we presented you with were 3 stellar organizations, but there are at least 30 others out there that we fund, that we have the same information about, that we want to share with you because they're great stories to tell. Incredible work is being done, and our community can make a huge difference by supporting some of these innovative initiatives that there aren't other dollars out there to support. And I hope that we can leverage, like Laurel House did with that $250,000 grant. I love it when you tell that story, Linda, where you leverage a community fund grant and more money comes from it because of the excellence that comes from getting the community fund grant. So I want to open it up to a Q&A because I'm sure your minds are racing. If you have any questions, we're just going to do it free form. So please ask any questions that you may have. Anybody have any thoughts for our presenters, or for me, or for Jake, or anyone else? If not, and you just want to go home, that's okay. I get it.
Mark, you said you wanted to talk about operating expenses, and you never touched on that.
Sure.
You did.
I'm glad you talked about it. Or operating programs. So
The topic that people
Right.
generally want to
Elephant in
avoid.
the
Thank
room.
you.
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
Right, the elephant in the room. So, look, in general, folks are interested in funding programs. And the challenge for us, and if we think about it from a for-profit perspective, you know, you have a core business, and that core business needs to be healthy. And you can't grow that core business and extend beyond your supply lines, or it will crash and burn. And so, what I'm suggesting is, this, you know, for us, for instance, where 70% of our revenue stream is the government, I'm trying to become increasingly less reliant upon it. But the reality is that I have, you know, I have 220 employees, you know, I have 180 teachers. Their salaries are gonna go up 3%, and that ain't getting funded by the state. So somebody's gotta acknowledge that, you know, for me to both maintain my talent and maintain the core organization, it's gotta get funded.
Peter?
Carrie, if you piqued my interest in any topic here, how, you know, what could I do
I
next?
didn't pay you to say that.
I know, but, you know, I know there's other people in the room that probably say, well, who do I ask, what do I do, how can I help?
So you have our contact information, Community Fund of Darien, you can find us, Google us on the website, get our number. We would love to have you do our grant review process. You could be a part of that 60-plus cadre of people that go out every year and do these visits. What I didn't go into, the detail on that, is that we really need a lot of expertise on these panels. We have a finance person on the panel. Jake was our most diligent. He asked for 3 years of back financials when he went in to analyze the organizations. But we always have a finance person, we have a marketing person, we have kind of an operations person. So we need, and we need the general view too, just to come in and assess the health and vitality of these organizations and help us make these really difficult decisions. So that would be, I would say, the best way to get involved. The second way is to really be curious, open your minds. One of the things I love about Darien, I've lived here 19 years now, is that we have a community that's hungry for knowledge and information. People that are highly intelligent, but they're not satisfied just to sit on their intelligence. They want to do something with it. They want to use their brains. And so learn more, reach out to us, share with your friends what the local needs are. We're actually going to be engaging in our next round of needs assessment in 2017, where we reprioritize the funding goals and look at whether these still fit the needs of our community. We need volunteers to help with that process. So whether you like to research, whether you like to do the site visits, if you want to be an adult advisor for one of our youth groups, reach out to us and let us know, because there's some great work being done, no matter what your area of interest is. And it's also a wonderful introduction to Lower Fairfield County and our community and the local needs. You get a broad swath, and you're more than likely to find something that pulls at your heartstrings with the 30 organizations that we found. Thank you, Peter.
We would love to have you visit, anyone, please. I mean, our facilities are fabulous, and I'm sure that's the case for.
Yeah, tonight, actually, I think the reason Jake came up with this idea was to satisfy people who are working or otherwise tied up during the day and can't get to one of our tours of support. But we've been offering for 3 years now, tours of support, we call them, where we take groups of residents out and we visit the organizations. Laurel House has been part of them, Open Door Shelter has been part of them, and we do quick 30-minute tours, and then we do a sector, and then we'll do a towns, we'll do either Stamford or Norfolk, and rotate back and forth. So you're going to be on our list for the next round of visits.
Well,
Bring it on.
and we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so if you
Anytime.
want to tour,
You can't sleep.
we can accommodate you.
And can I add that it's a wet shelter, so you're bound to have a good time if you go there.
Well, you have to bring
Oh, I'm-
open containers outside.
I'm just saying, you'll see
but
a lot.
you'll see a little fun
You'll
that
see a
people
lot.
have had as you come in, so.
Yeah, never a dull moment at the Open Door
Never a
Shelter.
dull moment.
For sure.
Yeah. Yes.
So there really is a lot going on in our community, and you know, the generosity of Darien has been something that's been so powerful and moving to those of us who work here at the Community Fund, is to be able to harness that for the greater good of these wonderful nonprofit organizations is truly a gift that we do as a community fund. It's to, you know, channel this and harness this generosity so that we can support very worthy and effective organizations. So please do get involved and give us a call if you'd like to do grant review. I believe we have all your emails from the RSVP, so we will be reaching out to you and trying to entice you to join us in the spring with some grant review. Any other questions before we say goodnight? No? Thank you all very much. Thank you to our nonprofit donors.